Hello, welcome back to Ball and Board Games. I'm Ball.
I'm Board.
And we have a review for you of Luthier, The Art of the Instrument by Rehearsing Games.
Yes, it is one of our Gen Con games. It was one of the ones I was most excited for.
Yes,
I didn't realize that Gen Con was going to have it in person because these games are literally being shipped during Gen Con to the actual backers from Kickstarter GameFound. But Paverson had a booth and they had games available, so we grabbed a copy.
Yeah.
So we got the deluxe edition. It's been super fun. We got 2 playthroughs in, so check out that video here on YouTube.
Yep.
And now we'll just go through our normal review structure of it.
Yeah, so we review the games individually over 5 categories. So we have the storage, the rule book, the components, the design, and finally the gameplay. And so we're each going to give a score for each of those categories, and then we will take the average of each of those categories between our scores to get the final Ball and Board Game score. Then we'll take the final average of all those categories together to get the final Ball and Board Game score, which will tell you if this is a just okay, a must play. No, sorry,
I don't play.
I don't play.
Yeah, I was like,
I don't play a just okay, a must play, or a perfect. I was
Yeah.
like, I know I missed one there.
the shit one.
The shit one. The one where you don't want to touch it. I think I skipped that one because this definitely isn't going to be a don't play.
You don't know that?
I do know that. Yeah. Alrighty. So starting off, we have storage.
Yeah, so storage here, this is the box. They do a very good job. So this is just the very bottom level of the box. So as you can see here, we have slots for all the different decks of cards. So there's a bunch of different decks of cards. Each one not only just goes here, but has its own slot. So you can easily grab the ones you need, or for some of these where you only use a few in the gameplay, you can leave them back in the box.
Yep.
And then the larger cards have their space. You have space here for all the different other tiles and family crests and whatnot to go on. Then all of the other stuff gets stacked on. You have these nice player trays that hold all of the player parts, which all come with lids, so everything stays intact inside. Then on top of that, you have the game board and everything else.
Yep.
Nothing really moves around or bounces around. They're all in their locations. For stuff like this, there's something that goes on top of this to protect it in there. I give storage 10 out of 10.
So a 5.
Yes. All of the stars.
Yeah. Alrighty. So for storage, I enjoy that they have something that holds all the pieces that you're using during the game. And so if you're playing a 4-player game, this would go between you, 2 players, and there's another one for the other side of the table. So for 2 players, you should have your own. The fact that they have these individual storage trays that have like that nice felt inside is really nice, and everything fits in exactly how it should. It's not difficult to put in there. You don't have to finagle it whatsoever. Everything does have a location in here, which is great. Can you hand me the cardboard thing that goes on top? My only problem is this, right here, is that everything goes in nice, but then you have this on top of everything in the corner, and then these go next to it. And so it's saying, hey,
Unless that happens.
buy the stuff to fill in this space. That I don't like. These items, if you're going to have a spot for them in the box, should have already had a plastic portion in here. So you should have already had this spot raised with a section for them, where these would fit in normally. This should not be a thing. So this annoys me. So other than everything fitting perfectly and that, I give this a 4.5 purely because of that one issue there.
Alright, so next up is digging into the rulebook and associated player aids. So does it teach you the game easily? And then if you need to reference things, how easy is that?
Also, the other rulebook as well.
Yes, there you go.
For the tutorial.
Oh, you can take that too.
Oh, yeah, sure.
That's not that's storage.
Yeah, exactly.
They do give you a nice thing here, though, for storage on how to pack the box back together
Yes,
again.
which you definitely need if you have a big game like this where that is a thing. All right, so for this, there are 2 books in this game. There is the Rehearsal here, which walks you through the basics of how to play. And then there is the rule book itself, which walks you through how to play. So the rule book itself is very clear on how to play, what to do, and all of the different scenarios really that you're going to run into and clarifications. I don't think we ran into a situation where we're like, it doesn't really say, so it's kind of ambiguous. I think there's one situation with these cards where it does say after completing any action, where
I
we
didn't
had
double
to
check that though.
where we had to infer what it meant. It's not a huge deal. With that, we kind of made the most logical choice in saying, okay, you have to use that chip for any action because those specifically put chips on to use. So I'm not going to knock it for that. The rehearsal is something that when going through it was a little bit confusing, mainly because you have these rehearsal cards here as well. It doesn't explain very well that you're supposed to use these reference cards paired with the rehearsal, which tell you what actions to take.
It clarifies it.
Perfect. So
Only
it does
on that
clarify the
worker
cards.
chip.
Okay, that's what we assume. So my one issue with all of this is purely that it's not clear that you have to use these cards with the rehearsal, which these cards tell you what to actually do. So we had some confusion there trying to go through the rehearsal. The rehearsal is a tutorial, so it's supposed to teach you how to play the game. Now, we were able to learn by struggling through it and looking up clarifications and stuff. Also, it has you going back and forth between these two books when going through the rehearsal, which also isn't very helpful. It creates confusion. Regarding the actual material, the rule book and everything, it's a very nice kind of linen finished material, which is nice. A lot of diagrams and everything, so we were able to learn how to play the game. So I am going to knock the rule book slightly for that confusion. If you're going to include a tutorial, it needs to be pristine and be easier to learn how to play than just reading the rule book. I feel like we should have been able to, I feel like we could have learned how to play this much easier if we had just gone through the main rule book. So this gets a 4 out of 5 from me.
All right. So for me,
I keep going to write my own score. I don't even know if I wrote them down.
So dumb. So for me, for the main rulebook itself, kind of next point. It is super clear. So you have game setup, you have player setup. It shows you exactly what to do. Again, as we mentioned, storage, all your player components are right there in that tray.
Yep.
Very easy to put where it needs to be. It goes through all the sections. It talks about every grouping of the board. So there's 5 different action spaces plus a market. And it goes through all of them and gives not only information, but gives examples. It shows in different colors what to do. It's great. I also love...
Different colors, I mean photo, pictures and
No, color, like the different colored, like...
Oh. The pictures are in color.
I love that not on the back page and the back 2 pages,
yes,
it goes through all of the information you need. So you have individual goal cards. It gives you that. You have awards, which are these off to the side. It gives you that. It gives you the patrons on what they offer. And then it gives you the different tracks and everything. So any questions you may have about iconography or symbology or, oh, what order does this happen? It's kind of all there in this nice information section. So the physical rule book, the main rule book, is perfect to me. The rehearsal, actually no, I'll go to this next. Then we'll get to that. So there's 2 cards here. So one card is a icon glossary and endgame scoring. Amazing. Perfect. Love it.
Yep.
Does it? And I love having endgame scoring here because I always play endgame scoring mostly. Yep. So I like to be able to quickly see without having my opponent know where I'm flipping through the rulebook to find this. It's right there.
Yep.
This one, sequence of the round, cool. I like that. This side doesn't need to be on the same card as normal gameplay. Mm-hmm. The rehearsal you only do while using this rulebook to learn the tutorial should be its own card. If you have space for 4 more cards. Mm-hmm. The back side of this, to me, should have been, if you're going to put anything on it, put the player track, or the 3 tracks, and just have those on here, and just have information that's useful. Yep. So I'm going to dock that. I don't like that this was on the same card that I play the main game with. And the only way you know that is the very small verbiage down here that says the rehearsal.
Which we didn't find until after we did the rehearsal.
We thought that the gray player had to be this exact way in setup. We're like, that doesn't make sense. Why would they only be able to do that with these numbers?
Yep.
For the rehearsal book, I thoroughly believe that tutorials are required for campaign games.
Yes.
So if you're going to play a deep campaign game, I want to know how to play it before digging into the campaign.
Yep.
This is not a campaign game. This, to Nick's point, not that complicated.
No.
We are gamers. We played a lot of these. It's action selection. So you select actions, you do them.
And that's the demographic that we get in this game anyway.
Yeah. So very easy to understand without a tutorial mode. To your point as well, there is confusion in this. They also built this tutorial mode only as 4 players. The game only plays up to 4. most people who buy this game are going to be 1 or 2 or maybe 3 players. You're not going to have 4 every time.
Yep.
And they built this out where you have to play all 4 players to understand what the heck's going on.
Yeah.
It would have been so easy to just have a 1 player and just walk through the 5 different sections and be like, hey, this is what happens. Or 2 players because you could stack and understanding the order of events.
Yep.
So I think this was extremely confusing in how you set up, how you run it. They had you give specific cards out, which got confusing because it was different than the game setup. So I'm docking it significantly more. I'm giving this a 3.5. Only because of the rehearsal. If they lost this book in our copy, it would have been a 5 out of 5. But because this book existed and we tried to do this to learn the game, it gets nailed.
It probably still would have been a 4.5 because this still would have been on the backside of this card, even if they lost that book.
I wouldn't have docked them. I'd be like, whatever.
You'd have been like...
I would have been this dumb, but like everything else is
You
perfect.
definitely would have docked it.
Man,
Because you've been
4.75. I would have
like,
rounded.
what? Yeah. All right. So next up is the components.
Yes. So as you can see from this zoom here, there is a lot of components.
Yeah.
So I'll start.
This is post gameplay.
Yeah, so we have a setup to end of gameplay. So my player board here, we'll go with the components. So we have little square cubes here that help you track some stuff. They're good. Solid square cubes. They don't need to be anything more. You have these little tokens, which are called workers. Solid. Sturdy component. They're nice and thick. They're not really going to get dinged up. Usually I would prefer acrylic, but they don't really need to be. They do what needs to be done. On the game board itself, you have a bunch of tokens. Again, everything that's in the player tray being put out. They're all solid. They're all wooden. They're nothing super special, but they all are customized, which we'll talk about in design. But they're all solid components. The cards, decent cards.
Linen finish,
Yeah, they are linen finish. Nice. So nice linen finish, solid cards. Again, we'll go over the design and everything else on them shortly. But they all are solid. We've played this game 4 times now with the tutorial.
Yep.
None of the cards are really dinged up.
True.
They all shuffle nicely still. And then the game board itself is a trifold, solid cardboard. All of these are solid cardboard for the additional sections. We have this. No idea what this is for.
Nothing now.
We have no idea what that's for.
Gone.
Other than poking someone's eye out.
For funsies.
But to me, I didn't really have an issue with any component. Even the dice are solid. I give components a 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Alrighty.
Get that 4 clue.
So yeah, 4 clue gets it. So I agree with everything else. So I really like the dice. I think they definitely want the wooden route to be in theme, right? Because these dice are made out of wood. They're not regular dice. Same with these pieces as well. They are made out of wood. The metal coins, which I know were a deluxe add-on, are very nice as well. They're sturdy metal coins. None of them are sticking together like you have metal coins sometimes. The parts that are punch outs, like the inspiration tokens and stuff, those solid punch outs are not very flimsy, which is great. Everything is very, very solid. The one thing I don't like, and we have the deluxe version of this, is that the resources are just these wooden cubes. You have metal coins for the deluxe version. Everything else should be deluxe too. There should not be a halfway deluxe. These should be the deluxe components, which they do have, that you can buy.
Inspiration as well.
Same this, and then the inspiration also. If you get the deluxe version, everything should be deluxe. I don't like this Apple style, buy this separately, even though you bought the deluxe. There's like a super deluxe, which comes with the dice tower that's really fancy. Yeah, I don't need the dice tower that's fancy. Like, I get that. That's why it's super deluxe. The instruments as well, same thing. Like, these are good for the deluxe. The super deluxe are actually like standees. I get that. Those standees we don't need.
Those are like metal standees. Yeah.
Exactly. But for the actual resources, if you're going to do one thing, do it all. So purely because of that, I gave this a 4.5 to find my score. So marked it off slightly because everything else is great. The cards are wonderful, but the fact that they didn't do the components rubs me the wrong way.
All right. A fourth category is design. So this is looking at those same components and everything else, looking at the artwork, looking at how they're presented, how is everything laid out, and is it attractive or not?
Yes.
Is it Baroque?
Haha, it's not Baroque. No. I like the design a lot. I think that the main board at first is intimidating with everything going on, but it's very, very clear once you learn how to play. I really like the music notes on the dice and just like the little border on the dice. I think that's spectacular. The silk screen printing on the little pieces on the main part of the board, the cards that we have, the artwork, the iconography, everything is very, very clear on what things mean, when they activate, what they do. The actual board itself, is like you're at a workbench, get ready to make whatever you got to make.
And they're all a little different too.
Exactly, and the families as well. They're like family portraits. The extra objectives, the thing where you put out the order of the tokens based on the different situations didn't have to have this fancy top of the violin. I think it's technically. It's not a guitar.
No, I know.
Yeah, so I think it's like what's on the cover. So this is the extra mile they went to do that. So the design they went in on to really make it feel like you were in this world while you're looking at this game. So design gets a 5 out of 5 for me, all around.
Yeah, so I'll start in the center here. All of these I love. Again, you have little performance, repair tokens. They're simple square, simple circle, but they have the symbol on it that matches that section of the game board. You have your instruments. Again, a nice little, almost like a trophy with a violin or viola on top of it. Love that. And you have your, let's say, crest or your player symbol on it. So very nicely done. The game board itself, to Nick's point, there is a lot going on, but it is very clear. You have super bold 5 categories that say, hey, here's the 5 categories. There's a picture next to it in the word. Boom. Here's what's going on. The cards, we'll start like the perform cards. Super clear and easy to read. They have a nice cool background on them. Repair cards, it looks like obviously you're trying to repair it. The instruments have pictures of the instruments with a cool background. So they didn't just copy and paste the background. They changed it up a little bit.
Yep.
What I do love as well is they kind of made the resources match the instruments.
Yes.
So, for example, a natural trumpet doesn't have strings, therefore does not need animal hide.
Or
wood. It just needs metal. A lute is made up of wood and strings, so animal hide and wood. Harpsichord has metal associated, but mostly wood and animal hide. So they thought that through.
Yep.
For the requirements. Love that. For design of the player board, I do like the workbench idea. I do like how you have like 3 people here. You're starting here and you're bringing it around to your finishing section.
Yep.
I'm not docking points for this, but the one thing I wish they did, so like we'll use Mozart here for example, perfect example. So Mozart, and they tied this perfectly to what era he would have been in, what type of musician he was, and tied that together. On the back, it tells you this is Mozart. So there's no surprise of who this is in the stack. Instead of just having the exact same symbol on the back of all these, I wish they gave you like 2 sentences about Mozart. And like, it's like you have all of these individuals here in this deck.
Yeah.
You could have added some flavor text about like who they are. That to me would have been fun. But I'm not docking points for that. It's something I would have preferred.
Yeah.
They did add that for the families. So they did give a
Yes.
little description of each of the families. So yes, design, 5 out of 5.
All right.
Hold on. Design, 5 out of 5.
Okay. And lastly, we have gameplay. How's it play?
So, 30-second overview of this game. So you have these tokens in front of you, which are known as workers. So you start with numbers 1, 3, and 5.
Find them.
Yeah. You start with workers 1, 3, and 5. Those workers will get placed out onto the main game board in the different sections. The number represents 2 things. The order, so the higher the number, the higher in turn order you'll go at that location. And there's bonuses. So if you have 4 or higher at any of these locations, you get an extra boost. So I do like that, where you have to balance allocating the number with what actions you want to do. And, okay, the 1 and 2 you can do on your player board because the bonuses are a little bit less, but it might cost you more in the end because this could save you resources, so it might cost you more resources, where you just got to balance everything. So you do that 6 rounds. So you put all your things out, you go location by location, in turn order, to resolve everything. So you can gather patrons, which patrons have requirements. As you complete the requirements, you gain extra VP and different bonuses. They also have different gifts at the bottom. You have performances, which give you VP and performance tokens. Repair give you repair tokens. And then the instruments give you VP as well as combine with the patrons. So there's a lot going on. You can strategize. There's also personal objective cards and generic board objective cards that we can both work on, or anyone playing. So we played this 4 times so far, 3 full times. 1 was the tutorial. We had different objectives every time. We had different families. So it offers a lot of variability. Variety.
Variability.
There we go. Variety. Which I love. Yep. So I do love the deep strategy in it where you have to figure out your thing, and you could get knocked out of a spot because your opponent put a higher number there. I love the fact that I have my goals that I secretly am trying to go for without being too obvious. There's a market, so you can buy and sell and adjust your resources. So overall, what the game provides to me is phenomenal. The one thing I did notice, which is only in a 2-player game, is this Sandra-esque, if you've played Vitale Lacerda, thing in the center here. Where you pick one of these red orchestra cards, and everything that's listed here, you put...
Red orchestra. It's a black orchestra.
It's a different thing. It has red on the back.
It's red curtains.
Red curtains, whatever. You pick a random color that's not in play, so in our case, we picked gray, and gray takes over all of these. Well, he had 5 instruments here, which means he has the first chair in all 5 of those. Sure, those weapons, those instruments,
That's what I said earlier, right?
those instruments come out of play.
Same thing.
But that just seems unnecessary. Mm-hmm. In a 2-player game, why not just let us go for what we want to go for? If Nick gets 7 and I get 7, then we both have the same score anyway. Mm-hmm. So I don't think the gray is necessary. I think it just adds. I think it could be an add-on that you could add on, but it's specifically saying the rules that for a 2-player you have to do this. Mm-hmm. So I think it just complicates things that don't need to be complicated, like the rehearsal did. Mm. So because of that, I'm knocking it slightly to a 4.5.
You really hate Sandra.
Yes.
Every game, he knocks it because of Sandra.
Only if it's annoying and unnecessary. Like, some of them are necessary. Some of them tell us, okay, she made sense. A game like that just didn't make sense.
I'll let you do that while I can give my review. All right. So for gameplay, I'll start where he ended. I think I understand the need for this red orchestra individual. I think if it was so open, it'd be far too easy to achieve the group objectives on the side over here. So I think you need this third imaginary player to have some pieces already taken up, so you have a bigger puzzle to work through as to what you're going to do ultimately. Because if all 3 of these were open, and if all this was open, it'd be way too easy to really get these.
Well, I think this could have been. I was fine with this being closed. Like, you could have just had a card that said, "Hey, just put this random token, cover these 3."
Yeah.
And but leave those fully available.
But the fact that they're always using the same number of tokens and they're in random spots, it also means that with a 2-player game, it changes it up even more every single time because you never know what spots are gonna be taken. And I think that I like that a lot. I like that whole thing to that. What I also like about the gameplay is, and I thought I didn't like this at first, but upon thinking about it more and more, I like it a lot. I like that you have to go to the balcony to cash in for the group objectives. Because now it's not
instant.
First come, first serve, which would be dictated by turn order. Now it's, okay, once you do it, so you could play your turn like, okay, I'm going to knock this out, and then I'm going to go there to put that on. But like happened in our last game, if somebody else is going before you, and they choose that first, like, shit. Like, I don't have what I need to do that now. Like, I like that a lot because you can kind of look at, okay, what are they trying to do? Like, I knew exactly multiple times, okay, you want to do that because you want to boom, boom, and then bang.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, I'm going to get in your way and stop that. So that also becomes part of the gameplay.
Which also can ruin your turn because you're forced to do this first. You're like, I really don't want to do that, but
so
I need to protect the gap.
So you have to think around that. So it also forces you to think, too, for yourself then, okay, if there's one thing you know you really want to do, you have to resist the urge to go there right away.
Oh, for sure.
Like, instead, you have to kind of feint, like, okay, put something down with, possibly with one of your apprentices in some other area. Like, okay, put this down and be like, you know what? I'm going here. This with an apprentice makes this appear like it's very important to you because you're using an apprentice. It's like, okay, they really want that thing. And it becomes the focus of like, okay, they're going there. I'm going to put something there to screw them up, or I'm going to whatever. When really you want to go here. So maybe you save your highest number for up here and you put that there last. And so that's what I did in our last round. Like, I wanted to make sure I got both those cards. So I waited to the end to put both of them there until you blew everything. Because if I would have put one there right away, you're in like...
I had no desire to even go to that corner.
You'd have been like,
I had my whole last turn planned out. I'm like, I don't need a repair. I needed this. I was like, I needed the blue here to get the blue down so I get my objective worked on.
Exact. So, but that's a fun puzzle when playing like 2-player, but definitely when playing with a bunch of people because the most likely there's always going to be someone at a spot with you, which is great, especially the deeper into the game you get.
Yeah.
I also like that as you go further in the game, you get more and more of these tokens, but there's also some characters whose ability gives you one of those tokens to start. And a bunch of these characters' variability also adds to that randomness at the very start. That's where the fun randomness is the randomness of, okay, what resources do you start with? What bonuses do you start with? And everybody starts with a valuable bonus in some way, whether it's an extra patron, an extra instrument, automatically starting one higher on one of these tracks, whatever it is, they all have felt super helpful, which is great. I like that there is this market area that you can go to at any point in time as well. So you can plan out your moves and like, okay, I need resources, so I need to have money to go to the market, do this, to then continue on. So I really enjoy that interweaving of the combos and everything about it. So yeah, I really don't have an issue with the gameplay at all. The randomness is in the cards being dealt, which is you have to just kind of adapt on the fly with everybody else, so it's equal. The randomness of the Sandra-esque, Vitalis sort of lingo, the non-player character, the NPC that gets put out at the very beginning, and it's not throughout the game, so it doesn't feel like that's screwing you over during the game based on what you get. Because that would be frustrating, to where like if you were working on an instrument and then a card flipped and they took it, and you're like,
that would suck,
oh, what the hell? That'd be annoying. I can't think of anything that I didn't like. And I lost this game 3 times and won the last one.
1 to 2.
We played...
We did on count. So we played 3 times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
sorry, 3 times. So I lost once, or I lost twice.
Yeah,
won once. But it's a lot of fun. It's one that definitely is easy to get out to the table, get into, and just like you want to kind of play and get your mind around. Like the moment we finished our first game in the playthrough, I was like, okay, when we go again, I immediately had a strategy ready to go. Okay, I'm going this way. I'm not doing this thing anymore. And even that, your strategy is going to be different based on the characters you're given at the beginning of the instrument, at the very beginning, all of that, as well as the objectives. The objectives are great because they have a limit on them to where it's 1, 2, or 3, much like the group ones. Not 1, 2, or 3. No. But the objectives here are 1, 2, or 3 on the objective cards, to where once you hit 3 of whatever the objective is, like you max it out, so you can stop focusing on it and move on. So 5 out of 5 for me as well.
All right.
What's the final score?
So.
What was the? Oh, you put the board there. I was like.
So for Luthier, we're now going to go over our scores combined, so Bald and Board Games combined score for each of those 5 categories, give a quick bullet point about each one, and then talk about our individual totals and the final score and where it ranks amongst all of our rating systems. So,
yes, indeedy.
First up, we have storage. Storage. Charge.
So, pay for a while talking about it.
So, Bald gave storage a 4.5. I gave it a 5. We do not round up. We always round down to the nearest half. So therefore, storage stays at a 4.5. Very good.
Yes.
Solid box. Had compartments for everything. Player trays and the resource trays are all set up very nicely. The only knock by Bald over here was the bonus thing only if you bought the extra components.
And that's something that just annoys me in general. They did it in Dwellings of Eldervale as well. That was just like, it's annoying. Just give me the plastic insert.
That's empty.
That's empty. And then when I buy the expansion, I'll put the shit in it.
Yeah.
Like, come on. So, yeah. Sorry, guys. All right, so next up is the rule book. I give it a 4. Board gave it a 3.5. So again, same rules. We round down to the nearest half. So a 3.5 is what we gave the rule book. And it's really honestly because of the rehearsal they included. If they didn't try to include this tutorial on how to play, it most likely would have been a 5. Because the rule book alone is super clear. The player aids, despite the random backside for the rehearsal, again, are super clear and helpful. So really, the inclusion of the rehearsal is what screwed this score up and dropped it down to that 3.5. Didn't realize the dog was still in here.
Who the hell's this? Next up is components. So components, I gave this a 5. Bald gave it a 4.5. The ding there was that the inspiration tokens and the 3 resources in the deluxe version specifically are the very basic resources. They didn't give that step up like they did the metal coins. Mm-hmm. So that holds at a 4.5 for components.
Next up we have design. I give it a 5. Board give it a 5. Bald and Board gives design a 5. Very well deserved. Went in deep on the music, the styles, the instruments, the artwork, the look, the immersion, just everything. In the playthrough, we had classical music playing with it, which just helped as well, which isn't part of the game. But the design is incredible. That is definitely where a lot of the effort went to this game, and it deserves the 5.
Yeah, and then finally for gameplay, Bald gave this a 5. I gave it a 4.5. Therefore, Bald and Board Games holds it at a 4.5. Mm-hmm. My only ding there was I wasn't a fan of that setup in the center for a 2-player game with the third character, that AI character per se. No. I think it could have been an add-on, but wasn't necessarily required. But overall, again, super fun. A lot of variability, a lot of fun strategy. But you could also play it in a very simple manner where if you have friends who aren't big gamers but love classical music and stuff like this, they would probably have fun with that.
Indeed. Alrighty, everyone. So, the final scores for how we do Bald and Board Games is now the average of our final score. So we individually average all of our categories to get our own final scores, and we do the same thing for Bald and Board Games. So my final score for Luthier Art of the Instrument is a 4.5. Love the game. Almost everything about it. It deserves that 4.5. There was very few things that dropped it down that half notch.
Yes, and my total score for the 5 categories for Luthier Art of the Instrument, also a 4.5.
The combined score for Bald and Board Games, looking at each of the individual categories, comes down to a 4, which makes Luthier, the Art of the Instrument, at Bald and Board Games,
must play. Yeah, again, super great game. Definitely recommend it. It is probably one of the games we'll keep for a long time. As I have no plans on ever selling this. I would easily bring this out and just screw around with it. There's a solo mode in here. I'm not really a solo game player, but I'm interested in how that runs.
I mean, you might enjoy it. I mean, you don't dive into solo, but you like puzzle-like things. Like, not puzzles, but you do. But
I'm assuming it'll be like where you draw a card for the AI and all of a sudden, boom, they get that instrument or something. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but so it creates that puzzle. Like, you like the math puzzle, like the Sudoku, this and that. I mean, that's all it is. Essentially, it's that same sort of puzzle with any of the solo games like that. The only ones that aren't a puzzle are like if you're doing a campaign solo.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah, but
yeah, great game. Definitely recommend it.
Absolutely.
It's definitely, again, looks like there's a lot going on, but once you understand the 5 locations, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's not anything that's confusing. Like Andromeda's Edge, we've played wrong a couple of times. There's another other side of the hill, very confusing, difficult. Successors as well, very confusing at times and stuff. It just takes some playthroughs, but this is one where you really just need to sit down, play it, and then because it's so simple and it's a worker placement and resource management. That's all it is.
Yep.
Once you get used to that, it's super simple, very easy to teach, very easy to learn. So, Luthier, Art of the Instrument, Bald and Board Games must play. Thank you for joining us here at Bald and Board Games, who gave the review of Luthier by Patterson Games. I'm Bald.
On board.
And we'll see you
in the repair shop.
Yeah.